Scaling a floating viewport. Here I have a drawing with a building section in it and a detail in it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click in my model space and I'm going to pan and get this building section in the center. Then I'm going to do a zoom command. I'm going to do a zoom window and get this thing pretty much in the middle of the window here. And I'm going to click out in paper space and I'm going to adjust my paper space to be kind of somewhat fitting around it. Now I'm going to activate my model space. I'm going to pan over this little detail. It's small, but I'm going to zoom in on it now and see what we got here. I'm going to zoom in again. Let's get a little bit bigger here. And you can see it's a wall section here coming into place here. There we go. And I'll go back in the paper space. Now, we like to assign a viewport scale to each one. So what we want to do is we want to click on a viewport. And once we click on it, we can come down here to our viewport scale flyout. And we come up here and we can pick. And I'm going to choose 1/4 inch equals a foot. And you can see that that almost did it. I might be able to get away with that if I kind of play with this one a little bit and make it just a little bit bigger and longer or wider, but you know, it's just not quite making it. So I'm going to come over here and say, well, you know, if it didn't fit 1/4 inch equals a foot, how about 3/16? And there we go. Now I can just activate this viewport and I can pan it just a little bit. There we go. And we're good to go there. So now this is 3/16 equals a foot. However, when I click in here, I want to come down here, and 3/16 is a little small. So let's go up to 1/2 inch equals a foot. It's still a little small. Let's go to 3/4 inch equals a foot. And that's getting normal size of a detail, but we can also go to 1 inch equals a foot. And I'm starting to like that. I can see it a lot better, but maybe I can get 1.5 inches equals a foot. Ooh, it's kind of close here, but let's see what we got here. We make our viewport a little bit bigger. I activate the viewport and I pan around in there, and I can just make it. So I go back in the paper space, and now I have set up this viewport is 1.5 inches equals a foot. Very nice large scale drawing scale. And this one is 3/16 of an inch equals a foot. You know, so ideally maybe I could move these things around. Let's just try this for a little something here. I might move this down here to the corner, and let's see if I can get this to fly here. But I'll move this up, and I'm going to stretch this viewport a little bit. And maybe, just maybe, if I stretch that over there, and now I pan in here, and let's just see for grins if I can pick this and get to 1/4 inch equals a foot, which is a more standard size. And you know, I think I can do this. If I pan this down just a little bit, there we go, and go back into paper space, I can grab a hold of this, and now I can grab a hold of this one and bring it down. Look at that. So now I fit them both at more standardized scales. This one's 1/4 inch equals a foot, very common scale for a building section. This one is 1.5 inches equals a foot, very common for a wall section. Now my warning to you is don't pan or zoom around in here inside through the model space hole, because it will mess up your scale factor. We'll later learn how to lock down these viewports. Also, if the viewport that we want is not listed in the list, you know, we can go to custom. I don't recommend this. These are standardized viewports generally. These are what you typically want, but every once in a while, if you go to custom, you can come in here and you can add in various scales, and you can add it to your list. You can also edit them. You can move these up and down. For example, I can say I want to move this one up to the top or move it up to the bottom. And maybe your company uses it all the time. You want it at the top of the list. You can delete a scale. Don't necessarily recommend that. But you can alter this list so that when you pick on here, you have your list more customized the way you want to see it and what scales you want. So maybe your company doesn't allow certain scales, and you can just take it out of there and show the scales you want. So we activate or we scale our floating viewport. We get the drawing situated inside our model space. We click on our model space one at a time. We come down here to our scales flyout, and we pick the scale that we want, and now that viewport is going to be scaled automatically to that building scale, and it's placed on this piece of paper.